they getting bad?
Well, yeah. Hello, hello. Here we're live. We're live, and I gotta say, I was gonna and apologize because this time it's on me because Matt always doing his cup of tea. So I thought, you know what, but you were on time. Wow,
Yeah,
and you have your cup of tea. There you go.
yeah, of
How
course
are
I
you,
do.
Matt?
I'm all right. How's life down there?
Good. It's just that, I am so disappointed. Like years ago, in 2015 to be exact, I had eye surgery. And then they basically removed something called cristalino in Spanish. I don't know what it's called. Basically, it's your internal contact lens, right? And they replace it with real contact lens, depending on the the eyeglass, measurement, whatever. And
Yeah.
I thought I was done with this, like because the whole point is that it stops the illness from advancing, and then you don't need it anymore. And then I've learned that it doesn't work that way.
It'll be cataracts, right? Is what you're
No, it
talking
wasn't
about.
cataract. I had
No.
like I mean, I couldn't see up close, so it's like I was like this, like trying to read stuff. It was just really, really bad. Astigmatism, it's called, I think, or something like
Right.
that. So, and then I went to the doctor. And the doctor goes, "Well, the honest truth is that we know we had a measurement for your eyes, but we always put a little bit lower because we don't want to put too much because then you get headaches." And like, so now I have glasses again, but it's a bitch. I'm disappointed. This
Yeah, I've been quite lucky with my peepers. I haven't really got too bad eyes, but I have noticed as I've got old, they're not quite as good as they used to be. Really, really close and really, really far. I start to struggle with, and I've never had issues my whole life. I think it's genetic in my family because my nana had great peepers as well all through her life, and my dad's aren't bad. He only has to wear glasses to read. Um, you know what's funny? I was telling my dad, I said, "Hey, shouldn't you just get laser surgery if your eyes are bad? Like you can fix them now, can't you?" And he went, "No, you can't do that because if you've noticed on the adverts, the bloke selling the laser surgery is always wearing glasses. So if he doesn't trust them, I don't trust them."
Yeah. No, 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 but I mean, it's great from a, but you know what it is, because when my son is back in Canada, he's studying aerospace engineering.
Yeah.
And when he comes to visit, because we go out a lot and he spends a lot of time in the sun, his eyesight is okay. But now that he's back in Canada, he's like he spends a lot of his time on the PC, and doing a lot of stuff and not enough sunlight, and his eyesight is getting pretty bad.
Mm. So what do you think? It's not getting enough vitamin D or like exposure to sun's bad for your eyeballs?
Well, no, but you need to. No, I mean, you're not going to be looking at the sun, but being outside and getting sunlight is actually pretty good. Also, staying away from the laptops, because he spends a lot of time doing these labs, that they do. Well, and so I said to him, you have to really take a break and go out in the sun, like the sunlight, it does help a little bit.
Yeah.
So
Well, his generation, I bet they're all going to be blind. They'll all be like Stevie Wonder, his generation, won't they? Because they spend 12 hours a day sat in front of the computer.
yeah, I never, yeah. And also, people don't, I remember when I was growing up, I mean, we'd go to school, and school PE was physical education was a lot, and you were playing outside, and then you got home, you do your homework, and then you spend the whole afternoon playing, running around.
Aye, the good old days then, weren't they?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then your
That's mad.
parents, they called you out for dinner, and then, like you go in, and then you go back out again. You barely eat because you want to go back because, the parents interrupted
Aye.
you. And then you go back out, and it's like around 9 o'clock. You're absolutely knackered because you've been physically out. And
Your command of multiple languages is exceptional, by the way. I've never heard a native Spanish speaker say knackered before, so well done.
uh, the thing is,
You've even
what's
got the slang. You've even got the slang down pat now.
well, the thing is, though, like I grew up with three languages because my dad was French Canadian.
All
And
right.
yeah, and we used to travel a lot. I was born in Nicaragua, but we used to travel back to Canada. And I didn't know I was speaking in three languages because to me, they were all the same until I started going to school. And I would use those words, and people would look at me as though I was insane. It's like, what are you talking about, my son? It's like, what
So
is that?
what's the three? French, Spanish, and English. You speak
Yeah,
the
yeah,
three.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah.
wow, yeah. I'm impressed. Although I will say in our defense, right, everyone slags off the Brits and the Americans, and they all say, "Oh, why don't you guys speak more languages?" The Europeans take the piss because we don't know any other languages. And I always say to them, like, Yeah, but everyone in the world speaks English. It's the language of business. There's a famous time when Jacques Chirac pissed everybody off, so he said, I'm going to do this speech in English because it's the language of business. And the French were like, oh, the francophones. And I always say to them, I was like, listen, if there was a language which like 5 billion people spoke and it wasn't English, I'd learn it. But you can't expect me to take up valuable brain room with some shit like Dutch. Like, what's the point in me learning that? It's like, maybe, you know what I mean? I'm
Yeah,
not taking
yeah.
up space. There's a finite amount of space up there, and I'm not wasting it with Flemish or whatever shit these
Oh
little
God,
noobs
yeah.
can
But in
English.
Belgium, you speak in Belgium. I love Belgium. I got to tell you, I love living in Belgium. And I honestly think it's one of my favorite places. It's just like a mini London, like
Thing is,
literally
though,
5 minutes
when
away.
did you last go? When did you last go?
I was there for 2 years, 2006 to 2008.
See, the noughties, we were still slowly declining. I bet you wouldn't have a good time in Belgium now.
Really?
I went about 4 years ago or something. I think I took my wife there. And what a dive. Walking around Brussels is like walking. It reminded me of the bazaar. Have you seen Black Hawk Down, where the Americans, the helicopter gunships are killing all them Somalians? It looked like that. It looked like the bazaar. It looked like a scene in
No,
Black Hawk Down. Oh,
I haven't
Brussels is
seen it. I
rough
haven't
now.
been back to Brussels, and I did live in a posh area. I really hate to sound skanky, but I did live in a nice area. But also when I was there, Brussels was really pretty. We used to go to the Grand Place, Ghent. I don't know if you went to Ghent, Bruges, Dinant, all of those places. Those were pretty wicked. I loved Belgium, and I was a lot with the diplomats and stuff. So it's so funny because these people come for 2 years, right? And there's a lot of divorces going on because they come there, for a posting, and then they meet so many women or men, and then they end up getting divorced because it was actually kind of like a huge party place, so for government
Well,
people.
and there's a lot of corruption there. That's why they all want to go and party in Brussels, don't all the people who don't work for a living. I upset World Traveller there, by the way. I apologise. If you couldn't tell by my tone, I was joking. I don't think there is a finite portion of your brain for languages either. I was taking the piss, so
Yeah, that's okay with you.
don't take it personally.
Yeah, yeah, we're all grown-ups. I hope people understand that. This is not a life for kids. I think that we're all mature enough that we can take the piss out of things. I wanted to ask you, did you see the thing about Elon Musk hopping on stage with Trump? I was
Yeah, I did
laughing.
see
I mean,
that.
Elon
I did
Musk
see that.
is okay, I'm gonna say something a little bit controversial.
Go on then, go on.
You
Well, on my channel, controversial seems to be the order of the day. So yeah, you say what you
you
like.
can tell that Elon Musk is a nerd. The way he
Yeah,
hopped on that stage is like I was
yeah.
like it was funny to see, it's like a kid who's never gotten attention and he's like, "Oh my God." It was so funny. It was like, I mean, I'm not being mean or anything, but it's just I could tell that he grew up nerdy.
He totally is. Well, you know what? We've actually argued about this at work because
Mhm.
there's a lot of being in California. There's a lot of very liberal sort of Kamala Harris Biden supporters at SpaceX, and a lot of them hate the fact that Elon Musk gets political. And I was saying to a lot of them last night actually because we were at our work doing. I was like, listen, at the end of the day, he's did what he's done out of. He's clearly motivated by belief and by his conscience because he's not a stupid man. And I was like, he must know that the optimum thing to do when you're a businessman is to do what all of the slimy businessmen do, and it's go and see Donald Trump on the side, give him 500 grand for his campaign, and shake his hand and say, "Best of luck, Mr. Trump, best of luck." And then the next day, you go and see Kamala and you shake her hand and you give her 500 grand for a campaign and you say, "Best of luck, Madam Vice President." And then your bases are covered. And whoever wins, you've got them in your pocket. And then when they're in power next year, you say, "Oh, remember I helped your campaign out," and they'll do you a solid. Elon has been aggressively politically targeted by the American government at this point. It's not even up for debate. The FAA has been seriously hampering SpaceX operations for months. They handed us a $900 million contract and then revoked it purely based off his political motivations. They're aggressive. And then this morning, here's another shameless example. I read a story in Business Insider this morning about some annoying 49-year-old hippie who hasn't got a proper job, and he says he's a professional musician, but he hasn't got any money. and he got a letter in the mail. I read this about an hour ago, saying, "Congratulations, your $250,000 student loan has been forgiven by the Biden and Harris administration." So we're a country with a $20 trillion debt. No, in fact, it's $30 trillion in debt now. And we're giving money, taxpayers' money, my money, to people like that. A 49-year-old who's never grew up and never had a proper job. And we've just and he said, "Oh, I'm so happy. Now I can live my dream and go and study in India." It's like, you're 49 years old. You're in $250,000 worth of debt. Get a job, you dirty hippie. Like, why am I paying for this guy's student loans? It does my head in. I can't believe I'm that close. I was ranting about it yesterday on my channel. I'm that close to just quitting my job. Like, I reckon with my YouTube and my stocks and shares that I've got from work and stuff like that, I reckon I could eke out a sort of a meager living and not run out of money, sort of like, just a couple of grand a month. I reckon I could do it. And I'm that close to walking away from a good middle class job. Because I'm sick of paying for people like that. Like, doesn't it annoy you? The current system rewards the feckless, the lame, and the lazy. And if you live a life like me, where you've never not worked since you left school as a 16-year-old, every chance they get to penalise you. They've definitely gone too far. This sort of centrist approach to taxes, where it should be, decent services, has disappeared. And now they just penalise working people all the time. Like, every chance they get, they take to give to people who've never paid into the system, don't go to work for a living, don't pay the taxes, live like a life of idle luxury. And it seriously pisses me off. Like, to me, that's just buying votes, isn't it? That's just buying votes. That sending a guy a letter saying, "Congratulations, your $250,000 loan has just been forgiven by the Biden-Harris administration," that should be illegal. Because who's he going to vote for? Do you know what I mean? Oh, your mic's died, Paula.
You can't hear me?
Ah, there you go. All right, you must have hit your mute button. Yeah, you're back on now. Lost you again. It was on a second ago, and now it's gone again. Switch it off and switch it back on again. That usually works. No, you're totally silent. It's weird. You must have hit something. Turn it off. Turn it off and turn it back on again, Paula. Hopefully that'll throw you back on. Oh, now we've gone all.
Hello?
There we go. Now I can hear you. That was weird. I wonder what happened
No,
there.
it's just for some reason, I have these cheap mics. So that's the only ones I could get here, But I was going to tell you, don't quit until I'm going to send you my son's CV so you can get him in there for an apprentice.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, I'll hold off then. I'll hold off.
Please do. No, but it's very interesting, everything that's going on with the Diddy thing, Is my mic too high, guys? Is it okay?
Sounds all right to me.
Okay. With the Diddy thing, with Hunter Biden, I haven't heard anything about Hunter Biden, but apparently, I told you that the 2024, I know you're a pessimist, but the 2024 is going to be the downfall of anything. And everybody, it's like we have Harry now doing solo events. You know what's really disgusting? I'm really disgusted about the press, mainstream media, because this idiot is raising funds for African parks who are systematically murdering the Baka people in Africa because of that coltan mineral, which is 80% found in Congo. And the mainstream media is only hailing, "Oh, Harry's back. He's back." And I'm like, where are you about the Baka people in Africa? I am so sick and tired of the mainstream media corruption. It's not even funny at this point anymore. It's like, what is it? Why do they do that, Matt? It's like, I am so disappointed. Like you said, they're targeting Elon. They're targeting Elon. And they didn't target Elon when Elon was pro-Democrat.
No, it's shocking, isn't it? This is what I'm talking about. To me, that is naked corruption. Like, again, I haven't really got a strong opinion on on it to like what no one could accuse me of being just a flag waver for the Republicans, because I'm not. Like, I'm a registered Democrat, because when I got my citizenship, that's the box I ticked. I am in the middle
They
of everything.
asked you about it?
But yeah, no, you have to. When you get your citizenship, you can declare your allegiance, because you vote in the primary process, don't you?
But isn't
So
that illegal?
no, that's just a preference in it, because how it works in America is you register as a Democrat, a Republican, or an independent, and then you get to vote in the primary process for that candidate. That's out for that party. So you pick a side when you register to vote, and I pick Democrat because I consider myself a centrist. But the point I'm getting at is, it shouldn't matter who you vote for. This is America. Like, if you want to vote for Bernie Sanders, that's fine. If you want to vote for RFK Jr., that's fine. But guess what? If you want to vote for Trump, that's fine as well. And this is what disgusts me about them. It's the hypocrisy. I don't naturally lean Republican, but the Democrats are just ludicrously hypocritical now. Do you know what I mean? This is America. It should be totally fine. If you want to write Snoop Doggy Dogg in, you can do. If you want to vote for Bernie, you can do. Why is it this big crime of support Donald Trump? If Elon Musk wants to change his allegiance and switch to Trump, who's anyone to tell him otherwise? But to me, that is naked corruption. That using the federal government resources like the FAA and the FCC and the Fisheries and Wildlife Commission, telling SpaceX they can't launch because they found a singed crab near one of the sites. Like, it's nakedly political. Nakedly political. So to me, this is what I keep saying. I think even if I was a moderate Democrat, I'd hold my nose and vote Republican this election, because that is disgraceful. Like, it's naked political machination.
But the thing is, Matt, that I remember with Ronald Reagan when they used to have debates, and people say he's your enemy. No, he's my political opponent, and they would shake hands afterwards, and they would make jokes and stuff like that. But I see this trend that you see this in a lot of communist countries, that they demonize the other political. They turn a political opponent into an enemy, and to the point that even families split up. Oh, you're a Republican? It's like, or you're a Democrat? It's like, it just to frame it, it would be like, oh, I'm not going to talk to you because you're Catholic and I'm a Protestant. I mean, that's to put it that way, guys. But it's the level of and I see this in communist countries, because they want your allegiance 100%, that you can't think of any other political party. It has to be that one. And they make you feel like you are disloyal, that you're a traitor if you go or think differently. And that is what's really happening right now with the Democratic thing. And I can tell you from very personal experience, because I see the signs everywhere. It's like when you're used to getting colds, you can tell the symptoms. Oh yeah, I'm coming down with a cold. And when I see this, the mainstream media now has become propaganda, thanks to Obama, who signed away the propaganda thing, that the treaty that the government could not put any press things out, like could not write propaganda, and he did away with it very quietly. So now the government itself is a propaganda machine. They're controlling the media. We know, because that ghost looking guy, Zuckerberg, and admitted to it.
The android, yeah. No, it's shameless, isn't it? Now it's shameless. They're not even trying to hide it. It's communist light, openly. Oh yes, Brazil, definitely in Brazil. That Lula. Is it they just stole assets from Elon Musk in Brazil? Because basically, Starlink is a totally separate entity, and they've got stockholders. It's a publicly traded company. It's got nothing to do with SpaceX or Elon Musk personally, and because they don't like Elon Musk, they just pinched his money. Basically, is what they did in Brazil. So again, it's naked theft. It's just theft, isn't it? They always say, oh, we're going to appropriate it for the people, for the workers. It's just theft. It's just theft. And they stole millions of dollars off him and pinched his property. So it is. They're not even hiding it anymore. That's the point I keep making about them, Paul. So you're talking about the differences there between the left and the right. The right just think that the left are naive and stupid, especially the flock. But the left think the right are evil. And this is why they're so dangerous, because cleverer people than us have talked about this for centuries. The really great quote from, who was it? It was C.S. Lewis. I'm going to find the quote about robber barons because it's a fantastic quote. And he said this
You can
years ago.
share it and I can post it, Matt.
And let me look for
Remember?
it. There it
And I
is.
can always share.
The
I am
quote
very
is,
proud because I taught you that. You can post it there and I can share it for you if you
yeah,
share
you
yours.
did. You did. But point is, it's an old one. And it was said many years ago. There it is. I'll blow it up for you. So I found it on Goodreads. How do you do that? Share screen.
Ooh.
There it is. There's his famous quote, right? And this is, like I said, this is a long time ago. And this is what I'm saying. This has been discussed by hundreds of great thinkers over the years. Of all tyrannies, a tyranny piss off pop up. There we are. Of all tyrannies, a tyranny sincerely exercised for the good of its victims may be the most oppressive. It would be better to live under robber barons than under omnipotent moral busybodies. The robber baron's cruelty may sometimes sleep. His cupidity may at some point be satiated. But those who torment us for our own good will torment us without end, for they do so with the approval of their own conscience. And that quote is, how apt is that for the
Yeah.
time that we're living in? Because this is the point I'm getting at. They think that you're evil. They think that whatever it takes to stop Trump, up to and including murdering him, is moral. That's how twisted up it is in their heads. They think it's a moral thing to do because
But
30% of Democrats said that.
I have to add a caveat to that. They know that they're wrong, but they are using the excuse. They're being hypocrites by saying that we're doing it for your own good. It's like when you're in an abusive relationship and your husband is punching you and he says it's for your own good. He knows he's being abusive, but in order to justify the punching, he has to say it's for your own good, or why did you make me do it? It's your fault.
No, I think they sincerely, this is what I mean why they're super dangerous, because they sincerely believe that what they're doing is moral. Did you see that statistic? It was shared by Musk on Twitter last week. They asked like 1,000 Democrats. 28 or 29% of them, basically a third of them, said they want Trump to get killed. A third of them. You're talking about ending a man's life, but they're convinced that it's a moral thing to do. And this is what I was telling everyone about why I definitely think, even after 4 years, looking at all the evidence, they keep making out as if, oh yeah, Trump lied about this, Trump said this. The time hasn't proved them right. Time has proved them wrong. If anything, I'm more convinced that they cheated now than I was in 2020. Like, I am convinced they cheated. And I'm convinced they'll cheat again.
Oh, I am absolutely. I know for a fact they did, at least with my son's vote.
Yeah,
That
you said, yeah.
That I can bloody attest to.
Yeah.
That there's absolutely no way. And it really bothered me because we had to run around. It was the first time he was voting because he turned 18. And then because he was away in that many states, he couldn't register in Florida, because in Florida you have to be present or something like that. And then oh, Jason Lee, thanks for the super chat. Thanks you. So we had to, his father was born in Ohio. So in Ohio, you can register, but we had to get so much stuff to register online to secure this and secure that. And then he managed to vote. And then like within 3 weeks, we get a letter. Well, and then he got an email saying, thank you for your vote, because everything was done online just to verify that he got the vote.
Thank you for your vote for Joe Biden. What?
Yeah, Pennsylvania. It's like, and I'm like, I got it. But the scarier part of it all is that when we went to the U.S. Embassy in Oslo, because we were in Oslo at the time in Norway, and they just very nonchalantly said, it has nothing to do with us. Fair enough. So who can we turn to? Report it to the police, because clearly somebody has your son's social security number, and it's like, okay, that's bad. And then we talked to the police, and the police, it's not, yeah, okay. So we had to do the investigating, and somebody had used my son's social security number, and it was at a 7-Eleven in Pennsylvania as the address. And I'm like, no, I was pretty angry, because you expect that to happen in third world countries, not in the United States of America, And I wonder if my son was one of the 1 million votes that overnight happened to Biden, because when Trump went to bed, he was leading by a landslide.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, I definitely think that's what happened, and this is why I'm black pilled about it, because I think they're going to do it again. Like literally, I was talking about this yesterday on my stream. Have you seen the numbers? They reckon that the best estimate from the Republican senators, because the Democrats lie about it, is 14 million. They reckon 14 million illegals have came in, and they're making it so they can vote, right? And I was like, so if only 10% of those 14 million vote, the Republicans can't win. Because same as with them sending letters to that guy saying, congratulations, the Biden-Harris administration have forgiven you $250,000. Of course he's going to vote for the Biden-Harris administration. They've just sent him a letter saying, we gave you $250,000, mate. Well, these immigrants are coming in. They're giving them the papers, and they're saying, there's your free house that we're going to pay for, and here's some food that we're going to pay for, and you'll get food stamp every 2 weeks. It'd be a shame if somebody else won the next election and all this free stuff disappeared, wouldn't it? Anyway, there you go. See you later. Who are they going to vote for? So if only 10% of those 14 million people vote for the Democrats, that's 1.4 million votes. The Republicans are done. The Republicans can't win.
Bukele from El Salvador, the president of El Salvador, of course, is happy that he was able to clean up El Salvador because all of the maratrucha are in the United States of America.
Yeah, he's pleased.
I can tell you that a lot of people, there are a lot of airplanes are coming here, and they come, they're even charters, and then they come because then they go to from here they move to the border of the United States, because Nicaragua is right in the center. They have flights, so the United States had banned the charters and stuff like that. But we're talking, we get at least 2,000 a day, and they don't come and stay here. It's just for them to go, because they're not allowed in Mexico, they're not allowed in other countries, so they still come here, and it is pretty insane. Thank you, POV. I love you, Texan man. But yeah, but and Bukele from El Salvador, he has managed to turn around. Of course, I like his style of governing, because the maratruchas he has, and Mara is is the gang, really really bad gang. I mean, brutal gangs. Okay, in El Salvador. So what he's done, and he has a bunch of them prisoners, and he said, per every crime that happens outside is one less meal for them inside. And put them to, yes, and said, you're going to tell me, you're going to decide if your buddies eat today.
Yeah.
So I find that that's the only way to deal with them. But it's, I mean, the way that the United States isn't that open thing, all the criminals that are getting in. I have a friend, he's been working. I mean, he's legally migrated to the United States, and he's been working for ages. That he couldn't get a credit card. And then you have these bloody criminals, and they get a credit card with $500.
Shocking, isn't it?
Instant credit.
So I mean, they penalise working class people to give money to scum. Like, people who work hard and do everything right get penalised. And people who lie and cheat and steal and thieve and do everything dodgy, they get looked after. It boils my blood. I can't believe it. I can't believe people aren't like extremely angry about it. So this is what they're doing.
I'd be mad. I'd be pissed. Are you kidding? I'd be so angry. I love immigrants that, it's like with the BLM thing. I'm sorry, I'm going to get a little bit political here. A friend of my cousin's, these black people broke into a store. This guy had worked his entire life. He had like a little convenience store with like fruits and stuff, from out of the country and blah, blah, blah. And they had to pay insurance, pays his taxes, because these hardworking immigrants, they actually do pay their taxes, and they want to remain in line, and they want to do everything right? Yeah. And they came in and punched the hell out of him. They robbed everything, and then, of course, nothing. They were not prosecuted. The people who punched them, because they were BLM, they were rioting peacefully, and my friend, he got like his teeth knocked out, his jaw fractured, he has his ribs went in, one of his lungs was punctured. He's still paying hundreds of thousands of medical bills, and his store is completely ruined.
Shocking. It's shocking. That's what I mean. It's an evil ideology, and this is why people have talked about it. The technical term for it is anarcho-tyranny, And that's what they do. And again, cleverer people than us have talked about this at great length. Solzhenitsyn talked about it in the Gulag Archipelago, about how basically he said if you were a career criminal, you're allowed a knife because they'll say, oh, it's not his fault the system makes him this way. He needs a knife for his protection. It's the system's fault. But if you do it, the citizen, if you have a knife, you're a terrorist, you're evil, they can't be tolerated, they crush you. And that's why, because they want to disenfranchise the populace. And it helps them by empowering the criminal minority and disenfranchising the majority.
But I still think that 2024 is going to be the year. I know you disagree,
No,
but it's very positive because I see, just the fact that Hunter Biden was convicted, fine, fair enough. He hasn't been sentenced, but he was convicted. And we have a lot of things going. I still think that Donald Trump is going to win, though, because everything is so massive nowadays. People are starting to vote more. People are being more on top of the voting thing now. Even CNN is trashing, Kamala now. And have you seen, I've been laughing a lot about this, Candace Owens, the heritage of Kamala? I've been laughing my ass off about this one.
it's unbelievable, isn't it? It's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Huh? I've been laughing.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying it's unbelievable that she thinks she can get away with that. Like, she's like Joe Biden, like changes depending on her whims. Like Biden, every day he's got a different backstory. He goes to a black church and he's like, oh yeah, I grew up in the black church. And then he goes to see a lot of Koreans and he goes, oh yeah, I grew up in the Korean church. And then he goes to see the Irish. He's like, oh yeah, I'm well Irish. I grew up in the Catholic church. Like, how many times did you grow up? You only do it once, you lying bastard. And that's what Kamala does.
But didn't he give a eulogy at a KKK funeral because he was friends with a grandmaster, whatever the fuck you call that?
It's okay when he does it. It's okay when he does it, yeah. It's mental.
Can you imagine if Trump had been the friends of the grandmaster of the KKK, given but he was a retired grandmaster. Oops, sorry.
Yeah. It's unbelievable, isn't it? The hypocrisy is off the scale. So yeah, that's it. But as I said, we'll agree to disagree. I hope I'm wrong and you're right. But in my opinion, they cheated in 2020. Why won't they do it now?
Because now people are onto them. People are onto them. There's a big difference, and people are pissed. People are angry. You know what it is? It always comes down to money. Whenever you touch or you play with people's hunger, the inflation in the United States is over the top. People cannot literally. You have to make a choice about driving or eating.
Yeah.
Like when it gets that bad, people do care. Believe it or not, people do care when things are that bad. People care when the people go hungry. There's a big thing that happens, and I do believe that before you had, for example, X or Twitter. It was known as Twitter, right?
Yeah.
It was all pro Democrat, so they could lie on Twitter. They have tried to discredit Twitter, and they can't. But so now you have Elon Musk, who has literally the biggest social platform, because Facebook is dwindling. For example, that thing with Trump, was it with you that we did the live that there was mostly stream in YouTube channels than in the actual TV stations? People are turning more to YouTube, like the debates. They were showing the debates, and people, instead of turning to the CBS or whatever the hell it was, they turned to YouTube channels. Some YouTube channels had over 1 million people watching live on their channels.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I do think legacy media is dying, isn't it? And obviously that's inevitable because they've lied so much and been caught brazenly lying that the general public don't trust them, regardless of party. Because regardless of party, what essentially we always use the media for is because we're busy, we work, we've got children to raise, we've got stuff to do. So what most people do is they outsource. They outsource the learning process to journalists, and they expect the journalists to do all of this professionally full time, decipher everything, find out what's true and what isn't true, and then filter it down into a nice, neat package, and then go, hello, this is the 9 o'clock news, and then do the news for 20 minutes and keep you informed, and it doesn't have to be a full-time job. That's essentially why journalism exists as a career. Do you know what I mean? And when you find out that the journalists are just paid activists, professional liars, why are you going to trust them to do that? Even if you're a Democrat, like, you don't want them to tell you lies all day. Even if you're a Democrat, you want them to tell you the truth. But at this point, they're activists. Now, if a Democrat senator does something wrong, the government, the journalists cover it up. If CNN got a juicy headline about a Democrat senator doing something awful, paedophilia or embezzlement or something like that, they wouldn't tell anyone. They'd cover it up, wouldn't they? They don't want to.
I've always said, Matt, that before that the internet, and this is why we're seeing a big push. They even had that idiot of Harry going around in New York at the Clinton Foundation, and they're using children's safety as, oh, we have to censor you guys, because Harry got up on the Clinton Foundation and said, Prince Harry, I'm talking about, guys, that these platforms are addictive and they played with people's mind and they're dangerous to our children. Well, you know what? If he were a parent, if he were an active, present parent, he would know that all of the electronic devices come with parental control thing, a safety feature of parental control. Number two, and if you put that and you enable that, there's no way in hell your child can look at anything, because you can literally control everything your child sees. I know that in most schools, the internet that they have there won't allow certain things to come on your, at least on my son's, when he was going in high school, the school that he went to, they had an internet and he had to use the school internet, right? And the school internet didn't allow it was really PG-13, So if you are a present parent and you have to enable your kids with proper values, if you teach your children proper values, confidence, all of these things, and if you're on top of it, you don't really have to worry that much. All you can do is instill things in your children and be on top of it. But when you're traveling the world, but he got on the Clinton Foundation, and now they're advocating for YouTube channels to be censored because they can't control the internet. For example, like that thing with Kamala. Why is it so funny? Because Kamala wrote a book saying that she was Black. And then she put a picture of this lady who now, according to Candace Owens, it was actually the maid. And she said, oh, I love visiting my grandmother. And she put a picture of her and this Black lady. And it turns out it is the maid. And it turns out that all the Khmer, they were slave owners. They're white Irish and Hindu. And the father was born in Jamaica, but I was born in Nicaragua. But I can tell you, I have a lot of nationalities from my background, like Candace says, I can move to Sweden or Switzerland. It still doesn't make me white. But
it's so weird.
The internet is kidding people, because Kamala, all that Candace Owens said, I want your help tracking this out. And people from New Zealand, Matt, are finding things from Jamaica. These people were not counting on the internet, on people literally fact checking them.
Yeah. Isn't it? This is what I was saying this yesterday, though, like, to me mate. They're not just stupid. Like, anyone can be ignorant. Like, it's no crime to be ignorant, but they are so delusional and deranged by this toxic political ideology. This is why people say they're in a cult. Like, the mega left-wing Young Turks host. You know what the Young Turks is, right? They're really irritating. They're on YouTube all over the bloody place.
No, what are they?
It's like a left-wing news organization on YouTube. They're massive because they're in the right place at the right time. Like, when I first got into YouTube about 15 years ago, Young Turks were everywhere. Every story that came out, they covered it. So they've got a big media network. I think he's got about 5 million subscribers on the channel.
What is it called?
The Young Turks.
I don't even know what they
are. Yeah. But anyway, Anna Kasparian's one of their lefty woke journalists, and she's always been a lefty. But she's arguing with them online now, saying, like, you're in a cult. You're in a cult. Like, because as soon as she says, she's an old school leftist, you know what I mean? The old school leftists like Bernie Sanders and RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, a lot of the old school lefties, they're not as brainwashed as this woke thing. Like this woke thing is just like being in a cult. And they do not see the world around them accurately. It's like they're walking around in a VR headset and they just live in alternate reality because they do it all the time. They literally watch something happen and they'll tell you the exact opposite straight to
Yeah.
your face. They're in another dimension. And that's what they do. If you get someone who's actually black, like Kanye West, and he says, I like Trump, they go, oh, you're not black. No, no, no. You might
That's what
look a
he
little bit
says.
black, but you're not
That's
black. They
what
said
he
he's not
says.
black. Yeah, they say if you're gay and you support Trump, you're not gay. You can literally suck a man's balls, but you're not gay because you voted for Trump. I was like, what? But if you're straight and you're married to a woman, but you put a little bit of lippy on and you go, I'm a proud member of the LGBT community. And I love Kamala Harris. They go, yeah, LGBT. I'm like, he shags a woman every night. How can he be a member of the LGBT community, but a gay man who votes for Trump isn't? It's delusional. And this is what I'm saying. People like Kamala Harris are not black. We know what her background
She's
is.
not. She's
We've got
Hindu.
genealogy. She's Indian and Irish. Is
No,
what she
and
is.
Irish slave owners. Never mind that.
Yeah.
They had plantations in Jamaica. They pretty much enslaved the entire island. I mean, but
It's
it's
mental.
just
It's
brutal.
mental.
It's brutal. No, but
Yeah.
it's the truth, you know. But this is why I said to you that the internet is going to catch them because people fact check nowadays. You know,
Yeah.
people go and fact check and I mean, and Candace Owens is getting like 2.7 million views on each video and you know, and she's very funny. One of them says, the math isn't mathing. And then the investigation continues. I met her daddy. Why is she denying her true heritage? I mean,
Yeah.
this is Kamala's big secret. Who's Kamala's father? She has some explaining to do. Her son, his
Yeah.
son, I mean,
Well, I'll give you a clue. He doesn't look like Bill Cosby. It's it is mental, isn't it? This is what I'm saying. Like they're living in a fantasy land. Like they see things happen and they just take away the complete opposite as everybody else. And I'm just like, you are in a cult then. Like if you believe the exact opposite of reality whenever it suits you, you're in a cult. And I think again, I'm not having to go at the old school leftists, like full blown dyed in the wood socialists that have always been socialists. I can tolerate them way more than this woke thing. Because like you're not going to get an old school dyed in the wood socialist who loves the arms companies, but the woke is just like beep boop bap, just get told like robots. Like so, you've now got these people who call themselves liberal, and they're like the pro war, the pro arms company, the pro big bank, they're pro politician, like the rat politicians. Everything they get told that they do, they're just like they're like a weaponized cult. And they just do what they're told. And if they literally watch someone burning down a police station, if the left wing, they'll go, "Oh no, that was peaceful." Like it's a mad state of affairs.
it's terrible. You
Peaceful.
know, it's like, have you seen those horses that they're going carriages? They have these things here, right? So no matter where they go, they have a very narrow view of where they're going. They can't look sideways or anything, right? So they can be going through the world through the most beautiful roads or sceneries, but all they can see is that thing there. That's how people have become now when it comes to the extreme Democratic Party. It's like no matter what's going around, they just have that focus on no, this is what we're going to stay in, and they don't look around. They don't care what's going on around them, which is
Yeah,
actually quite scary. I saw you posted something about Julia Louis Dreyfus. You know, she used to be Elaine on Seinfeld, and it
yes,
was so funny because I don't know if you know this, but her father is a billionaire. This
yeah.
woman grew in entire privilege, and
I
then
know.
she takes to the and her biggest role really was Elaine in Seinfeld. Other than that, he had like a couple you know, cameos here and there. But this is a woman who clearly has never worked, never struggled. I mean, for her going that's and then she does this video. Oh, I don't know very much about anything, but I'm going to vote on emotion because
Yeah,
Kamala, yeah, Kamala, I can count on Kamala to tell the truth. A known liar. Kamala is like a flag. She goes
yeah.
where the winds blow. And do you think she's
Exactly,
involved with Diddy?
exactly. I don't know about that. I haven't really heard much about her being involved in that, but I do know that, like, which is the point I keep making. The reason I have such contempt for them is because they don't believe in anything. This is what I keep saying. I've got a lot of time. I mean, I don't agree with his opinions, but I've got a lot of time for Bernie Sanders because at least he was a committed socialist his whole life. Someone like Bernie, someone like Biden or Harris, they don't believe in anything. Like, I respect someone who has a conviction that I disagree with. I'm an atheist, but I respect a devout Christian. At least he has the courage of his convictions. Kamala and Biden are weasels. They don't believe in anything. They just go where the wind blows. And that's why you can't trust them, because they've got no convictions. At least if someone has convictions, even if I disagree with them, at least they've got a framework that they try and live by. These people are just weasels, open books, that they'll do whatever thinks will get them into power. And it's funny Lay's bringing up J.D. Vance there, because that's another thing that's baffling to me about how they're living in this alternative reality. Because people like Julia Louis-Dreyfus, whose dad was a billionaire, or Stephen King, there's a good one, guy who's worth 500 million and who's been on the bestsellers list since the 70s. He's calling J.D. Vance rich. They were all on Twitter the other day saying, "Oh, J.D. Vance is just another rich guy." Honest to God, look it up. They were, and this is what I'm talking about. Them living in an alternative reality. They're living in an alternative reality.
Did you see the movie? Did you see the movie about him?
Hillbilly Elegy, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't see it. But my wife read the book and she told me all about it. Yeah.
No, but the movie is really good. It's pretty brutal because he was really
poor.
I mean, and his mom was like an addict. I mean, this guy had the proper ingredients to be a homeless guy right now and turn into like a drug addict or some sort of criminal. The background for him, I mean, it was a recipe for that. Is the perfect that if you look at a recipe of who can turn out a predictor of what this person is going to turn out to be, like a hoodlum or whatever, that would have been his upbringing. I mean,
I know, and this is what I'm telling you. I'm actually having a quick flick through my Twitter now to see if I can find it. Honestly, it's unbelievable. So you get someone, like, this is another good example. I'm laying the evidence on for you like I always do, layering it, right? Another example of them living in a delusional cult where they create alternative realities, because the whole reason J.D. Vance is famous is because of poverty. He wrote his book, which was a bestseller, about his life in poverty. And now the likes of Julia Louis-Dreyfus, billionaires and millionaires, and Ellen DeGeneres and Stephen King and all these activists. There we are. I found one of the tweets by one of these lefty activists.
Okay, put it up there and I'll show it.
Let me have
Just share the screen.
Yeah, look at it. Again, staggering. J.D. Vance is every rich kid you wanted to beat the crap out of it in every John Hughes movie. 10,000 likes. A rich kid.
But that's in 3.6 million views. That is insane. So because he reached 3.6 million people with that tweet, and these 3.6 million people are going to walk away with the idea that this guy was rich or is rich. So that's how terrible things are.
So what do you do with that? You've got the likes.
You should fact check him and say he wasn't rich. No, seriously.
No, I had to go at him about it, but this is what I'm saying. And Stephen King and the like. Stephen King and Oprah Winfrey, a black billionaire woman. They're going on Twitter going, "Oh, J.D. Vance is just another rich guy." I was like, hang on, you've got $1 billion in the bank, you absolute lunatic. So it's even more delicious when Oprah Winfrey does it, because she's going, "Oh yeah, America is a deeply racist country where black people like me can't get ahead. And J.D. Vance, he's rich." And I'm like, hang on. Two statements you've made there that you being alive disproves. You know what I mean? Oprah Winfrey's saying with a straight face, America's so racist, black people like me can't get ahead. And she's worth $1.5 billion. And she's calling J.D. Vance a rich guy. You couldn't make that up. You couldn't make that up. That is living in an alternative reality.
But we have to talk about Diddy. I'm sorry, I have to take your point on this. What do you make of Diddy? People are saying that Jay-Z is next. You know that I was watching that Obama did his introduction to the Hall of Fame, because apparently Jay-Z, I didn't know this, but I've been doing a lot of research on Jay-Z. Barack Obama introduced him when he was inducted in the Hall of Fame, and his mate and his buddies. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen with Diddy? Because he says he's dying to testify, which to me, that sounds like a threat.
Well, if he's got anything on the important, powerful people, we know what's going to happen. because we know what happened to Epstein. And as I said, the evidence for that is undeniable as well. Like, one of my friends made a very good point. One of my mates from back home, normal borough lad, from Middlesbrough, who just got arrested one night for having a fight in a pub. And he said to me, if you try to kill yourself in a cell, in the random overnight cell for a drunk, the drunk tank in Middlesbrough, he goes, you wouldn't be able to. You wouldn't be able to kill yourself. He said, there's no fittings in there on purpose. There's nothing. There's nothing you can get any purchase on. They take your shoelaces and your belt off you. Like, you wouldn't be able to commit suicide. And Jeffrey Epstein was in the suicide watch wing of a maximum security prison. And they claim that he killed himself. It's unbelievable. So we know what's going to happen to him. If he knows too much, he's going to get Epstein. That's what's going to happen to him.
I don't think so. This guy is making sure that, why I think he put out that he wants to testify? Because he wants to scare people to say, I'm going to speak unless you give me a deal. Because can you imagine if Prince Andrew is mentioned again in one of the parties? Because we know that Fergie went there. I mean, I don't think that Andrew can survive another scandal. What do you think of that? I mean, because...
Well, ultimately, they can survive whatever, can't they? Because they get looked after by the rich and the powerful.
But up to a point, look at Diddy. Why do you think they decided to hand Diddy in? Because this is not that the police was going after Diddy and then they did an amazing investigation. No, I believe that all these billionaires got together because somebody had to be served up, and then they decided on the black guy rapper, and then Jay-Z might be next. Have you seen Beyonce's Instagram or Oprah's? People, have you seen the comments? Oof, my people. This is why I'm telling you that I'm going to show you here Beyonce, because people are calling her calling her out, and it's pretty brutal. It's the comments that are leaving there. It's like, you're the devil. Let me see.
You're the devil. That boy is the devil.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm going to share you here. And she just posted something. People and they trying to delete the comments. Beyonce, we know the complicity you have with P. Diddy. No, right now, Beyonce. You must had a crazy comeback when, and speak. We know. I mean, I'm proud to say I never liked you. We all know, And it's like button hating, I kid you not. And why is this woman looking whiter and whiter every day? Why can't she be a proud black woman?
It's so, again, though, this is this glaring hypocrisy, isn't it? The ones who were the like noisiest about black rights and all this are the ones who look like they're desperately trying to modeling themselves after Anders Breivik or someone like a Scandi activist. If she's always going on about how good it is, why is she dressed why she dressed up like the Queen and dyeing her hair blonde? It's pretty mad, isn't it?
No, but it's brutal. She knows.
She goes,
yeah, who came to read the comments, and they're deleting with the kids. No, this is in Spanish. Los niños, no. Justice for Ayala. I don't like Beyonce. Even in Spanish, people are coming here for her, a button of total disappointment, I came to read the hate. I mean, it is, and they're deleting the comments. They deleted a lot of the comments because yesterday it was brutal. And
people have had enough, haven't they?
I really think guys, I disagree with Matt. I really do believe that the internet is going to catch all these people.
Yeah, I'm a cynic, me. I always think the rich and the powerful will close ranks.
But Trump is rich. Elon is rich and powerful.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Diddy was rich and powerful.
Yeah, Epstein was rich and powerful. We know what happened to him. Yeah, who knows?
So they're all there. Okay, so before we go, who do you think is going to win? Guys, who do you think is going to win?
Are you talking to the chat or me?
To both.
Well, I've told you what I think. I think Trump will get the most votes, but that doesn't mean he'll win. That's what I think's going to happen. I think they're going to stitch it up. I think they stitched it up in 2020. I think they're going to stitch it up this year. And it's going to be even more blatant because after the last 4 years we've had, think of all the advantages Trump's got this time as well. Think of all the advantages he's got. Last time, they had him banned off Twitter. Well, they can't do that now because Musk's bought Twitter. And then even Zuckertwat has said that he's censoring people a lot less now because people are getting pissed off with Facebook and they're just deleting their accounts and just hanging out on Twitter all day. So he's got every advantage now. We've had 4 years of incompetence. We've had him freed on Twitter. We've had Zuckerberg laying off because they were covering for him in 2020. They were hiding all the stories. Every negative thing that came out about Biden, Twitter and Facebook hid, and Google hid, and all that's gone now. They've had 4 years of incompetence, multiple wars, chaos in the Middle East, chaos in Ukraine, economies tanked. Everything that's gone that could have gone wrong for the Democrats has gone wrong for them. So in any sane world, Trump would win easily. But we think he won in 2020 and he didn't win. So I don't see how we avoid rigging.
No, I believe that he won. I believe that he won. And as I said, I can only attest for my son's first time voting. And I can tell you what happened to his vote. I can tell you he never voted in Pennsylvania. He was registered to vote in Ohio, which is where he voted online. That letter we got thanking him for his vote in Pennsylvania. I am pretty sure that my son's first time vote was part of the 1 million that they found overnight.
The problem is though, Paula, your argument is, don't you think you're contradicting yourself? Because if you're conceding that they cheated in 2020, what's going to stop them
because
from
people are on top of it now. People are on top of it now. It's more massive. Before they didn't believe Trump. Remember that they even tried to prosecute him for being what's it call it, an election denier. Remember that he was even up for that in a trial. Now even a lot of people are now, even people who were like you, who said no, they wasn't. It was just this orange man who was being angry. Now that's not the case. This is why they're Kamala. And when the thing about Kamala, when you were talking that she's wishy-washy, it's like one day she's against fracking. Oh no, I'm for fracking. Oh no, I'm against. You said that it was bad to frack. Okay, no, we're not gonna.
I know. Like, well, look at her on the border. Look at her on the border. But again, we're sort of going around in a circle here because we agree on this. We agree that everything that they could have done wrong, they've got wrong, and every advantage is now with Trump. But the only thing we disagree with is, whether or not they'll cheat again. Because the issue I've got is, I could be wrong in that the Republicans have got thousands of election watchers, because this is what I'd have done if I was a Republican. I would make sure that every polling station had 20 right-wing Republican activists watching it. I would make sure that everyone was watching it. But to me, it looks like they haven't. So I just have
to ask you something, because I'm confused about something in California. In California, the governor of California, that wanker, tried to censor free speech. And the court said you can't do that. But then he passed that you don't need to present ID to vote. And that was approved, ratified.
Right. No, you don't have to. They've actually passed a law in California saying that you can't make people need ID to vote. So they've passed laws to make it easier for them to cheat. So this is what I'm saying. Like, I don't see how.
But I think it's only in California that they have that, because most states have, you have to, like my son, when he registered in Ohio, he had to send ID. He had to send all kinds of things in Ohio. And in Florida, it's an in-person thing. This is why he didn't register online in Florida, because in Florida, at least at the time, we're looking like when the second time around in 2020, 2020, he couldn't, because we were living in Norway, so he couldn't be in person in Florida to register. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just California. I don't know about New York.
To me, that's why we're in trouble. I think not only have they flew in millions of illegals and they're getting them to vote for Camel I think that the Republican MAGA, the non-MAGA Republicans, the rhinos, the ones who hate Trump, even other Republicans, the Lindsey Grahams and the Mitch McConnells and all that, they're not motivated. They don't want to stop. They don't want Trump to win. What they say and what they actually do is two different things. So I fear greatly for the integrity of the election. I don't think the Republicans will have taken the necessary steps to make sure that they can't cheat.
Is this true that they're giving driver's license to illegals in California?
Yeah, of course they are. No, they are. They are. Anything to help them cheat. That's what I'm saying. Like, of course they are.
How can they?
Because the corrupting can do what they like. That's why they can do what they want, can they? Gavin Newsom. How can you say how can they about a state like California? Gavin Newsom, when at the height of the lockdown, everywhere was closed and everywhere was banned. Gavin Newsom's was the only vineyards that were still allowed to be open to the public. Did you know that? That's how shameless and brazen they are with the hypocrisy in California. Every other winery was closed down, but Gavin Newsom's was open. They can do what they want.
This idiot, this is the governor. He also came on record and said that Harry and Meghan's Archwell Foundation was not delinquent. Well, it was. You know, it's like it is absolutely disgusting. But anyways, we'll hit the 1 hour, guys. And thank you, Matt, for coming. You have to come more often here, dude. You know, I love having your conversation. I'm gonna send you my son's CV. So
all right.
Don't quit. You know?
Don't quit quite yet. All right. I'll do another 6 months.
You have to wait at least 8 days because I'm gonna prepare everything for Henrik to send you this thing.
All right.
But thank you very much, Matt, and thank you very much to all of you who've been here. And you know that we always love. You know what? I have to tell you, people were upset you don't have your flag behind you. You could have it like on a pole on the corner. You know.
Oh yeah.
It's part of you. I mean, you are an angry bootnik.
I am indeed a very, very angry bootnik.
So there you go. You should put your flag by a little pole or something. Just hang it there, you know, because you didn't want it to cover your whole wall, right?
Yeah.
So you can do that. You can do your angry bootnik corner, and that'd be so cool with the flag and around, you know.
Corner. All right. Yeah, that's a good idea. But yeah, all right. Send me his resume. I'll see what I can do.
Thank you so very much, guys. And thank to the Angry Bootnik. Go and subscribe to him, watch his videos, and have a great Sunday, sweeties.
Cheers, Paula. Take it easy.
Bye-bye, gorgeous.